Figure out what your targets are, figure out where you're going, figure out what your plan is. If you don't have one, there's no magic formula to make one. You can just sit down, set out what you need and what you want, and you can just write that, and there's your plan. Living life when you know what you're about, what your morals are, why you're doing what you're doing, and where you're headed is a huge part of what it means to live well. I was overhearing a conversation in the gym earlier, and everybody was talking about their TV shows that they've been watching. And the irony was that every one that people recommended, and I've heard this from more people than just what I heard today, people say, "Oh, have you seen that? Blah, blah, blah. That was all right." And we've come to accept our entertainment, our evening, our 5 to 9, as opposed to the 9 to 5 work, as all right. And I've got to be honest, maybe I thought about that a little bit more than I should have. But I really thought, like, how long do we spend watching these shows, consuming rubbish entertainment, because there is just this abundance of production now. Obviously that's good and bad, because you get more good, but you also get more bad. I'm not saying that people intentionally go out to make bad things, but I think it's quite important when you're thinking about where you're going, what your plan is, to realize that little things like watching a mediocre show, that you really have to be aware of it. Because each show is, maybe call it 8 to 12 hours. And if we're honest, there will always be another one waiting. Once we finish one show, the next one is there. And that's fine. Entertainment's fine. It's fun. It's good family entertainment. There's nothing wrong with socializing. But when it's day in, day out, every evening, every bit of spare time, when your relaxation is watching something that's alright, a bit of okay entertainment. You know what it's like when you start a show, even if it's not great, there's this weird urge to finish it because you want to know what happens at the end. But an important part of living your life with purpose, realizing that your time is so valuable, is realizing when to say, this is not going to just get better all of a sudden. This habit that I'm doing is not suddenly going to get better. This is just going to sap away at my life when there are so many amazing, fulfilling things that you could do by creating, by reading, by watching more educational content that will benefit you in some way. Or even just saying, you know what, I really do want to watch something that's entertaining in the fictional sense. Fine. But don't put up with some rubbish. Turn it off. Actually find something that's decent. Be more discriminative with what you're consuming. Because, we could waste every evening of our lives for the rest of our lives just by consuming rubbish. And it's easily done. And I dread to think how many people actually do that. Everyone has some sort of dream, whatever you want to call it, a goal, a dream, a passion, something where they want to be somewhere or they want to do something, but things don't quite feel right yet. It's always a yet. There are obviously some circumstances which physically mean you cannot do whatever you want to do, but for a lot of at least the Western world, the time we spend consuming entertainment, you really have to ask yourself, is that actually fulfilling me? Am I really getting from that what I need? What am I sacrificing in place of that entertainment? Do you want to build something? Do you want to write? Do you want to draw? Do you want to paint? Do you just want to build tech things? Do you want to build something like furniture? Do you want to learn a skill? You'll be amazed in how quickly you can learn something, or at least get a huge quantity of information in such a short amount of time. if you just sit down, get yourself in a quiet place, allocate those 10 to 15 minute windows. If you've got longer, fantastic. Utilize your time, whether it's a 30-minute break. I work in healthcare, I know what breaks are like. Get 15 minutes, half an hour. You rarely get anything more than 45 minutes or an hour. You'd never see an hour, but within that 30, 20 minute, even a 10-minute window, you can really consume something significant. Doesn't mean you have to skip your lunch or your coffee. Take a book, actually use it. Don't scroll. Don't consume more content. Unplug and live your life with purpose. Follow your actual plan. Remind yourself what you wrote down. What was it you wrote in your planner or your phone that you said, that's actually where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That's who I want to meet. That's where I want to go in terms of a location. Even if it's a holiday, how am I going to get there? How am I going to get the money? Is the way I'm earning money now really how I want to carry on forever? Is there a way that I could earn money some other way and then I could do what I love doing as a job? For me, I love healthcare. I love looking after people in a medical sense and a caring sense. But I know that's not going to make me rich. That's not going to be the answer to all my financial problems. It'll make me a reasonable living, sure. And you can go up in the ranks, fine. But it will never be, oh, I can check out and retire now. That's not possible. Even with savvy saving and investing, it's not going to happen. The only way to be financially free, to be able to pursue passions, is to commit yourself to something outside of the norm. And that's where your plan comes into play. Focus on what you need from life, from other people, from yourself, in terms of, do I need to commit this evening to learning something? Do I need to commit this evening or this next month or this next year to learning a skill, to reading that book, to having a go? Is it a business? Is it you want to teach? Is it that you want to create? Or do you just want to buy something and sell something that you think is a valuable resource to people who haven't been introduced to the product yet? All of those are brilliant, but it's not going to happen if we just consume, sit back, do nothing outside of the box. And this is not a you should. No one has to do anything. There's nothing wrong with living comfortably, having a normal job, having no expensive things. Materialism is, I'd say, more than 50%, for lack of a better word, a con. As soon as you buy one thing, it's out the window. Next thing, that's old hat. Now we've got this. That thing you bought a few months ago, it's gone. The thrill's gone. No one cares. No one looks at you and goes, wow, anymore. Because it's never about that in the first place. When people look at you, they normally say, I wish I had that. So even by having things that are flashy, high value, you're not impressing anyone unless you're doing something that really brings value to people, whether it's one person or many. You're just perpetuating a cycle of materialism that's not going to make you happy, and it's not going to make anyone else happy by being envious. So it's fine to own things like that, but just try and think why you want it. Is it actually going to serve you and get you what you want? Is it going to help you in some way? Or have you just been caught up in the hype and think, this is somehow the answer to all my issues? If I only had that to show off, or if I only had a bit more money. But what are you going to do with that money? What is your purpose? Where is your plan? Remember what really matters in life. Taking care of your health, taking care of your family, people around you, strangers, having morals that actually mean something, not being consumed by guilt and hate and envy. It's not about mugging off that local business because they forgot to scan one of your items. No, that's where you should be honest and say, I'm receiving a service from you, I'm going to pay you for that. Otherwise, you're screwing them over. And then if everybody does that, inadvertently, you're just screwing yourself, because your community, your environment starts to degrade as your morals break down and they infect everyone around you. People that think, oh, I got away with a quick one there, it's no way to live. You're looking at the short-term picture rather than the long-term effects of what you're doing. Actual butterfly effects. You didn't win, but if you have your plan, you know who you are, you know what your morals are, you know where you're going, you know what your values are, and you know it's not about scraping by and trying to get one over on people all the time. It's about benefiting the community, about bringing yourself up so that you can help others if you can, and then they find ways that they can help you and other people, and then you have a full community which is wholesome and actually functional, because not everybody is trying to undercut each other. Sit down with yourself, write your plan out, figure out what you are, who you are, where you're going, and then it's easy to figure out what's right and wrong, where you should be spending your time, what you should be focusing on, and what makes you fulfilled and happy, and then you're really living the good life.